Hey guys, welcome to my cave. I was kind of setting this thing up and I had a few other ideas that I wanted to test out, and I thought maybe you guys might want to see this. So today's episode is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be more of like a behind the scenes kind of thing where I'm going to be testing out some stuff and basically just discovering stuff on camera, and we'll see how it works out. As you can see, I've been starting to build out this area. So we've got a little bit of this crystallix glass that allows us to walk through, and it is also reinforced, so it'll withstand explosions and things like that. And this is where we're building our mop pit. Over here, I've got the black luminix blocks, which basically just turn the entire area dark black. And then there's another set of glass here for the mobs. I do have this, another one of these screens with a bunch of panels. So up there, I have a fan that pushes things down because I want to also be able to do like gas and blaze over here. And I thought it might be a good idea to have a fan to push them down. I haven't fully tested that theory yet because I ran into a small problem, which I'll show you in just a second. We can control all of those things from here. So here you can see the fans starting and stopping as I turn that on, and I can control the mashers as well from this screen. And then if I click on mobs, you'll see the mobs will start spawning here and dying. I'm gonna turn that off because I'm just deleting all these things. I put maximum looting upgrades in all of these mashers, so they kind of spawn a lot of things. What I was having trouble with is I wanted to set up kind of an area that would work for the new gateways too. And basically, let's go out here and I'll show you. I've got this platform built away from everything else, so the mobs only spawn on the platform and they have nowhere else to spawn. Because these new gateways, if you take a look, it says that, where does it show? Basically, the spawn range, I think, is 32 blocks for these guys. 24 for this one. So the spawn range was increased. That means if it's like close to other things, like if we had a platform going off this way, like our old base, it was basically spawning things outside of the pit. And if we turn off our shaders, you can see we have the same Ars Nouveau portal down there that's teleporting the mobs inside of our killing chamber, which is right up there. So I've got that built, and we've got these cog blocks underneath. So that's the dreadful dirt here is the one where I turn it on and spawns all the different mobs, and I can control those lights. And the way I'm controlling those lights is with these Ender IO circuits, bundle things. These are pretty easy to make. You can make the redstone alloy ingots. I just made a alloy smelter, and you did it in there. You can make the primitive one if you don't have any of the what is it called? Any of the grains of infinity, but I think you should. We get them from something. We have 1.5 million. So they basically just do redstone. So they move redstone around, and they're inputting into our inverted illuminant blocks. And then the signal is coming from this receiver. I had a very hard time with these receivers. If we grab a receiver and a button module. So you can see this guy, the channel is unlinked, right? And the way you link this is you have a receiver in the world, and then you shift and right click with that, and it'll say, look, it says channel set to 16. So now this guy's on channel 16, and this should be on channel 16, but it still says unset. Basically, I discovered even if you shift, like holding space and shift, you cannot assign a channel to the button module if you're flying in the air. Like you have to be on the ground to do it. And then you can see now it changed to channel 17. So for some reason, it doesn't, like if it's up in the air like this, there's no way for you to do it. Like you have to build a little platform like this, stand on it just to link it, and then it'll be fine. So that was really annoying. But anyways, that was a thing. I'll just delete these two. So our button module is basically linked to this redstone receiver. And every time we click the button up there, that's labeled as mobs, because that turns off these lights and then the mobs start to spawn. Something else to note about this dreadful dirt, if it is exposed to the sun, it will basically turn into dirt. It'll disappear. The reason why it's okay here for it to have like an open area is because we're underneath our platform. So technically it's like underground. But I was afraid if I built like a full enclosure like we had at our old base, that the mobs would like spawn on top of it because the range was bigger for those gateways. So anyways, there is that. So we're sending in the redstone signal from our buttons to these guys. We have these cog blocks underneath with a timer on it that are ticking it to basically, if you tick redstone pulse the dreadful dirt, it'll spawn mobs faster. And then we've got an advanced clicker here that if it gets an item, it's going to basically right click it on that block from the top over there. And that's how I'm automatically spawning gateways. So let's go take a look at that. Just fly in through here. So again, you can see if I click on spawn mobs, it's going to turn off those lights, and then all the mobs are spawning over there and getting teleported up into our thing. So you can see there's a ton of them. If I turn on the mashers, they're all going to start dying. And we get too much loot. I'll have to set up a salvager and all that stuff soon too, that we'll figure out, but I don't think I'll be doing that in this episode. And then if we grab a gateway like this Blaze gateway, for example, right? I can put that, there's a secret storage over here. Let me pick those up too. So I can put this gateway inside of here, and let's turn on our mashers and our fan. And that's going to start. You can see that it automatically did that. And now the mobs are spawning over here and they're getting killed. And I hate how big the thing is for that. So all of that is working fine. You can see that's where next wave is starting in 1 second. So it spawns, they get teleported over here and basically die immediately. So that is working fine. The problem is if I try to spawn one of these other gateways, like Thundering Summit, for example, these ones have some changed rules. And if you look at it, so the spawn range is 24, whereas like the default is 8. And then the leash range, I don't know what leash range means, but that's 48. And then it says it requires players nearby. I don't know how close the player has to be in order for this to work. If I go ahead and put this in here, you can see the clicker spawns it. And then as soon as the first ones happen, for some reason now it's working. What? As soon as those mobs would spawn, it was like not working. And you can see these guys are going to be problematic. So you see that little like lightning thing that happened? So it just got canceled. Let's try another one. How about this one? Our world here has to be ascent, so we'll have to go back down to this guy in order for this to work. That is bizarre. I was literally just before recording, my other gateway was immediately turning off. But you can see some things are not making it into the thing. Oh, it's phantoms. They have to go down. So I need to figure out that part. I don't know if I maybe do an enclosure with slabs. Maybe they won't fall on top of that, and then we can put some more fans down there. But I might be able to snipe them with my spell. Yeah, there we go. Well, I will do some more testing with this, obviously, to try to fine-tune it. This thing does collect experience from inside of that area. So, and then underneath it, I have a storage bus. So if we take a look at experience, XP fluid. Oh, it's not hooked up to our thing yet. I just have a storage bus down here, basically. There it is. And that's how it'll be available in our system, and we can use it from anywhere. So I'll kind of figure that out. And then the other thing about this cave, I gotta be honest, I don't love it. I like the idea of this whole area and like a cave going down into a mob farm area. The thing I don't like about it is I wanted it to be more like a natural cave rather than like such a squared off like building thing. So I think I might change out all these blackstone to like more dirt and gravel and then mess around, like instead of it being completely flat, maybe it'll continue to go down lower and lower and have more of like a cavey vibe to it. So that's what I'm gonna work towards, but that'll be for me to figure out on my own. I don't like building on camera. I think it's not gonna make for great content because I'm not great at it. All right, let me show you. You guys might see, look at how many hearts I have. That's from all of these new things I gotten. Look, I have resistance 4 permanently. I have regen 4 permanently. Health boost 4, so it's giving me plus 16 max health. That's why I'm getting so many things. Let's go over here and I'll show you kind of how I did that. I did that with the reliquary stuff. So if you take a look at reliquary and let's say we want, let's say haste, for example, right? So haste requires a golden nugget and sugar inside of the mortar, and you can make that. So let's grab a gold nugget and some sugar. And what you can do is you combine those inside of the mortar, and you can see that gives us haste 1. And then you right click and you get it. You can put the haste 1 back inside and then put in more sugar and gold. And now that should give us, it gives us longer timer of haste, but usually it gives you higher haste. What is haste 2? Haste 2 is with an emerald. Let's try that. It was emerald and sugar, right? No, emerald and gold nugget. So we'll just get rid of that. Emerald and gold nugget will give us haste 2. We put the haste 2 back in there with another emerald and gold nugget. Look, now it's haste 3. So you can keep leveling that up to a point. So now it's haste 4. Can we go to 5? There it is, haste 5. And then you can put it back in to just increase the time on it. So it is 4 minutes now. And then you can put it back another emerald, 445, 512. So you do that until you build up your thing a little bit, the time on it. And then you put it inside of this cauldron. So we'll need a bucket. You fill the cauldron up with water. You put in the potion essence, and then you need another wort. So then you put in a wort, and it's going to start cooking. And then we need those potion jar things. And then we'll take a potion filter. Put that in our offhand, and watch, I can take this, and it gives you, each time you make it, it gives you 3 different ones. So our 5-minute haste 5 is actually going to be 15 minutes because it gives you 3 potions. And then I'm going to drink this and immediately click it into the haste filter. So you can see we have haste 5, but the potion filter is actually capped at 4. So I can drink that. And now we have 900 seconds in that. So you can just do that a little bit. Same exact process. There's haste 2. Put the haste 2 back in there. We get haste 3. Put the haste 3 back in there. So this one is 7 minutes. I just put more emeralds in there. And you can get a higher timer, or you can just do it multiple times. It doesn't really matter. But you guys get the point. You just do this a few times, and then you can have basically any of these potion effects. So you can do speed, you can do night vision. Health boost I did, health boost 4. And you just drink this guy. And you'll get, at some point, your potion filter will be activated. So that's really cool. I suggest doing that. So now we're like basically really strong with all of those potion effects. I stood within some mobs a bunch, like for a long time, and I wasn't taking any damage. All right, so let's get into, I'm gonna automate Powah with applied energistics so we can have it on Autocraft. So let's go back over here, because now that we have the nether stars, we have 2,000 of them, we can easily get up to the nitro level of stuff, and we'll also be able to do the infinity cells. So if I want to make like an infinity lava cell, for example, that's going to require a bunch of blocks of blazing crystals. And that, where's my book? And so we can make a bunch of the nitro stuff now and upgrade our power generation and all of that. But I do want to run some tests on that. I think for Powah, I can set it up somewhere down here, maybe in this wall. So I could just set up our guys over here. And then we'll use camel, the camel blocks. And I think that should work pretty good on this. Let me go to the other side. So we can cover those up, and then I'll just put a gate on it for now. That'll be enough. Nice. So these guys are getting power, and it looks kind of nice and neat. And then our energizing orb I'll have to put over here. And we need to tie that into something. So here we have some cables that I can bring out. Let's just put another P2P device on this side. Not dense cables. These normal cables. So P2P goes over there, and then from the P2P we go into a pattern provider. And I'll use an extended pattern provider. That will go up there. And then on top of our pattern provider, we will put our energizing orb. So that will receive all the recipes. And we need a way to push the finished items back into the pattern providers. And I'm going to use transfer labels for that. So we've got all of these guys. And which one's this? This is the extract one. It's going to be hard to put. I'll do this. We'll put that on the bottom, so it'll extract from the energizing orb. Did that not work? Oh, it works, okay. Want speed and also amount. That should be enough. I don't think we're ever going to have a full stack of anything. I think just 16 is the max you get, because it'll give you 16 of the nitro things. So now this is basically fully automated. Let's hook up our memory, our P2P tunnel, and I can borrow another P2P channel that's not using full cables. So like this guy's only using 2. Oops, I messed that up. So I'll grab that one, and then we'll have to figure out which one I messed up. So now this guy's online, and what did we screw up? Is it these two? Yeah, so you can see these guys are offline. All right, so that is basically all we need to do for that. It's fully automated. We just have to make the recipes. And for the recipes, if I go to Powah, I can make, so the nitro crystal will just be this. And the block of blazing, I'm going to just do as the blocks, the block recipes, and then we'll have to have it down crafting to this guy. So we're going to be using the block forms to craft it, just because that is a little bit more efficient. And then I need the decompressing recipes for all of the ingots as well. We will also need the ender core recipe and all of the, there's going to be a million recipes for like the dielectric pastes and all those things as well. So And just to test to see if that works, let's grab some blazing, like let's say 20 of these guys. Oh, we do have to set the pattern provider to blocking mode. That is important. So let's try like 20 of these guys. And you can see that works very, very fast. Perfect. Okay, so that is fully automated and it looks clean. If you use the transfer labels, you don't have to have like cables and stuff running to it. Or like you can use a modular router also to do that. So I like that setup. Now, I think there are some inconsistencies with power in this pack. So I want to test out some stuff with power generation. So I have a little bit of a suspicion that even though this one says it generates 40,000 FE per tick, I don't know if that's perfectly accurate. Same thing with the reactors from Powah. It says it generates 500,000 FE per tick. I don't know if it really does. I do want to test that out, and Flux Networks has a way of seeing how much power is being moved through it. So we can use that to monitor things, but we do need to make flux dust. And if we grab a 1x compressed piece of obsidian, we can drop redstone on top and click another obsidian block on it, and then that will basically create flux dust. There's 1x compressed, and we need another one on top. So I'll turn off our magnet and I'll grab a bunch of redstone. There is a limit to how many you can have, I think, so then we'll put the other obsidian on top and we're gonna throw all of this redstone down, and you need to use an empty hand and you left click, so you punch it. If you try to right click, it's not gonna work. So just remember that you gotta punch it. All right, so those guys are done. Let's make recipes for the points and plugs. So we'll need 1 point, 1 plug. And then I'm going to use a magmator, Nitro magmator. So let's craft one of those. And also Applied Flux has a, just in case Flux Networks is being weird, I'm going to make, let's say a 1 million FE storage cell. And we do need to access lava. So maybe I'll put this guy over here. And then we'll turn on lava auto output to it. We need a flux plug, and the plug will pull power from it. So let's make a network, and I'll just call it the Vusis network. That's great. So now that this guy is connected, we will bypass the limit. So we should be able to see how much it's going. And then we're going to grab this guy with the cell housing on a separate network. So here is the controller and the drive. We'll put a gate to power this. And here will be a flux accessor. We will put the point behind it and connect that to bypass limit, connect that to our network. So now the power from this plug is going to go into this point, which is going to go inside of and get buffered inside of our FE cell. And if we use a throughput monitor, we should be able to see what's going on here. So I'll just grab a Flux cable and put a throughput monitor. And we can right click twice. So you can see now we have 71 million FE stored inside of this cell. You can see right there on the bottom. And now it's set to seconds. Why is it increasing? That's weird. I want it to be per tick. Okay, so this gives us two references. We'll be able to see both the throughput monitor checking it as well as our flux plug. So let's see if this guy actually does. So we'll output to the right here. This guy should be getting lava. That's items config. fluids. Oh, is that why this isn't working? Unbelievable. All right, auto eject on. So this is full of lava. See, this guy's only making 10,000 FE per tick. Not 40,000. And it checks out with this one too. It's making 10,000. So even though the Nitro Magmator says that it generates 40,000 FE per tick, it's only making 10,000. And now it's stopped. Why did this stop? This is still filling up. I don't know why the throughput monitor stopped working, but this one definitely shows 10,000 FE per tick. I do want to check a couple more things. So there's that guy making 10,000 FE per tick. Freaking useless. So that means how about the spirited ones? How much do these make? 2,000? Let's give it some time. It looks like maybe 5,000. Okay, so this guy's making 5,000 FE per tick. This guy was making 10,000. And let's check out the other magmators. Here is the normal. Actually, I'm going to make recipes for these guys. So the normal magmatic generator should make 160 FE per tick. When we put that down, this says 160. And this guy, it kind of to me looks like 80 or 800 FE per tick. But for some reason, this isn't picking it up. Dude, this is all kinds of whack. Okay, let's try the 8X. Full of lava. It's supposed to be 1280. Maybe if I pick that up and put it back down. I don't know why it doesn't show up. Does it show up over here? What in the world is going on? I just tried to take a screenshot and it's saying 6,400. So even though this is supposed to be 1280, it's showing up as 6,400. And if I put in this guy, the 64X one is showing 51,200 FE per tick. Really? 51,000? And why is this not working still? But now this is saying 11,000 FE per tick. 10,000. Something isn't adding up. So this is 10,000 FE per tick from the throughput monitor, which is what this says that it's making. But then this guy says 51,000 FE per tick. So that makes me believe that the flux plug thing is incorrect. And the statistics aren't even showing up anymore either. All right, let's go back to our other magmator. 10,000 FE per tick. Let's try this again. $1 million FE, because okay, this one's also saying 10,000 FE per tick. That is very strange. I don't know what's going on. So the reason why I'm confused is because when this is set up, everything is in agreement that the Nitro tooltips is lying. It does not generate 40,000 FE per tick because both the Flux Networks and my throughput monitor are saying that it's generating 10,000 FE per tick. If I remove that and let's make a cube. All right, here is an ultimate energy cube. We can put above that. to fill it up. Oh no, input is 10,000 FE per tick. So input is 10,000 FE per tick. So the magmator, I'm going to assume is 10,000 FE per tick, because now we have 3 different sources confirming that it is 10,000 FE, not 40,000. Garbage. Okay, now we know. And then this 64x one, let's try this guy. Again, the input for this one is so weird. Maybe it's doing it per second instead of FE per tick. So maybe the 50,000... What was it, 51,000? That's only 2,200 per tick, which makes no sense. I'm going to assume this generator can do the 10,000 that it says. No, but it says per tick. So doing 10,240 times 5 is 51,200. So I think it makes 10,000 FE per tick, but it's only outputting it every 5 ticks, the transfer rate. Or maybe it generates 51,000 FE every 5 ticks instead of every tick. Just to like save on performance maybe? I don't know. But this one looks okay. That one looks more accurate. Okay, I am disappointed with Powah. Let's take a look at the Powah reactor. Also, I do want to check that as well. I'll have to make recipes for those. We'll need 36 of these guys, and this should make about 500,000 FE per tick. Let's make some dry ice, about 64. And then we will need a stack of coal blocks, a stack of redstone blocks. We have the dry ice and uraninite. We'll upgrade that. Those cables can only... Again, I don't know if I can trust that or not, but theoretically, those guys should be able to do 200,000 FE per tick. But our Ender Gate also only does 200,000. But these guys, so we need 40 times 9, so we need 360,000 FE per tick to be able to keep up with the rods, if the numbers are correct. I know this is a lot of nerd talk, guys. I don't know if you guys will enjoy this episode or not, but I'm giving it a shot. So we do need to build this. Let's just... actually, I don't need lava for this. We will put this back. Per tick. Now, we'll build our reactor there. We do need a bucket of water also. So we give this guy water. It doesn't use the water, but it'll use the rest of these things. And I want it to... Let's hook up the plug first. Over here. So this is going to send it directly to this point. And we can put those guys in. Now, as it builds up the temperature... Or as it goes down. No, it's fine. Okay. So this guy's making 465,000 FE per tick. And this guy's saying 480,000. This is broken again. Come on, throughput monitor. Per tick. 5 million. Okay, 472. 469. Okay, now it's more. 468. They seem a little bit off, but it's close enough where I'm happy. So I think these guys do actually make 500,000 FE per tick. So we could go with some Nitro reactors. These are easy to make and maintain. So maybe we'll do like a few of those and we'll make a couple thousand FE per tick. Because let's say our spirited ones right now are making 5,000 FE per tick each, and I have 25 of them. That's only 125,000 FE per tick, so we can replace all of this with just one of those reactors, and it'll be much better. I do also want to move towards extreme reactors. That's going to be something I want to do. So I think maybe for the time being, I'm going to make 4 of these Nitro reactors. So we have 1 already. We need 3 more. So I'll just do 36 times 3, and that'll make enough, 108. And we can set that up down here instead of all of these stupid things. So down here, we will need an interface. And this interface is going to be connected through our thing. Perfect. And we need to basically maintain all of these guys. The coal and redstone, easy. The dry ice, we will have to set up a requester for. And the uraninite is also fine. Right, so if we go up to our requester panel and we say dry ice, I want to keep 256 in stock and each time make 2048. I should also upgrade this. For now, we could put another gate. Two gates is much faster. Instead of using the Powah cables, we can use mechanism ones. And they will be more powerful because the Nitro ones can only do like 2 million FE per tick, I think. This guy will do 3.2 million FE per tick per cable. Red merchant. Whoa. Oh no, come back here. What do you got for us? I'm going to capture this guy. I don't know what he does. He is immune to it. All right, our reactors are done. I do need to set them up. If I remove all these guys, we should be okay still. And we can build that there. All right, so we're going to have 4 of these guys built. I'm going to delete all my magmators. Then we just hook up our Super Factory Manager cables just down like this. I'll live with it for now, I guess. I don't love it, but... okay, we do need to fix this guy. So what we're going to do is we're going to input the FE from our reactor and then do the same exact thing over here. And then for this guy, instead of inputting fluid, we are just going to input all the items from the interface. And then we're just going to output 1 each. So 1 of each of those items. No, actually, we're going to output retain 1 each. Let's say 2 each. 2 each reactor. 2 each, 2 each. What this means, we're going to pick up all of those items. So the uraninite, the dry ice, the coal, and the redstone. So we pick up those 4 items, and then we're going to retain 2 of each of those to each of the reactors, if that makes sense. And if we grab our label gun, we should be able to label that as the reactor and this as the reactor, the ports. And then we also need the interface over there. Now we should be able to erase all of those other labels. And if we pull the labels again, you can see it's just reactors, the cube, and the flux accessor, and all of our magmators are gone. So these guys are in. They do require some water. Do we have the chalice? We have a chalice. So let's put a bucket of water in all of those guys. And our temperature's going down. They're starting to make power. I'm going to put them on auto. And if we take a look at our throughput monitor, we put this guy to per tick, we are making, this is not going for some reason. Right now we're losing power. Input FE from reactor. You can see our cell is draining. The items were working because they went in there, and this is making power. We're just not extracting that power for some reason. So we input that FE from reactor, and the spelling of these is the same. Oh, maybe, you know what, we need access to this, or how about the bottom? I'm gonna try the bottom. That'll look neater anyways. So I'll label those four as the reactor and remove these ones. And also remove our cables. Let's see if that'll work. Okay, so now our power is draining from here. So I think these inputs on the side are for items only. And if you want power, you have to access these ones. Question is, will this be able to do the items also? So if I remove redstone, okay, the items work for there too. Interesting. All right, throughput monitor, 0. Great. Per tick. So it looks like we are making 1.8 million FE per tick, which checks out. If these guys are making 455,000 FE per tick, that times 4. So that seems okay. First of all, I'm going to upgrade these guys to the mechanism ultimate cubes because these also work. And then we will take a flux point. Now that we have this, I'll set up down below. So this guy is going to go over here and it'll be on the Flux network. And down here where our flux accessor is, that's completely surrounded. No. So I just shifted things around a little bit to make room to put this flux plug in. So now we can put flux points around as well and have infinite wireless power transfer. And this guy, we can bypass the limit. So now this point can put in a max FE per tick amount of power into this. For some reason, it's not. Did we select the network on this plug? Yes. Oh, is that going to... It might be going in here. Yeah, it's going in there. Whoops. We've made a real mess. Okay, so these guys all have power now. Perfect. Let's grab our facades again. And we have nitro rods now. This will work much better. All right, guys, I know this was a bit of a weird episode. I mainly wanted to test out those power things because I had a suspicion that they weren't exactly accurate. I'm still not fully sure what just happened. I'll have to review the video or like try it again, but I think I'm pretty confident that the nitro magmators do not make 40,000 FE per tick. So if you're relying on that, you might want to double check your numbers as well. But that doesn't matter now because we're using the reactors and we're getting about 2 million FE per tick. That will carry us for just a little bit until we get set up with extreme reactors. and that will give us some really big power. With extreme reactors, a single 5x5 turbine with Incenite coils will give you 63 million FE per tick, and those are very easy to make multiples of. So that will kind of be our end game power goal, which we might work towards pretty soon. I'm gonna jump back into building and finishing up our mob area, and then I'll build a little area for industrial forgoing. That way we can make soul lava and move on with our bees and all of that. So anyways, a little bit of a strange video. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this or not. Just kind of my like thought process and figuring stuff out in between episodes. I thought I'll try bringing you guys along for one of them and see how it works out. Anyways, hope you enjoyed it. If not, we'll do some more like progression content in the following episodes. So thank you for sticking around and watching the series and supporting all of the videos. I appreciate it greatly, and I will see you in the next episode.